Good afternoon. Welcome to my channel. Today I will be discussing something a little bit different. As you know, I normally do hauls or I discuss things that deal with fashion or style and things like that. But one thing I'm also an advocate for is self-care. And so many things have occurred this past week that I really want to dig into what self-care means for me and how important it really is. So first, I'm going to start off by providing you with the definition for self-care to me, and that is anything that brings me any type of joy, peace, relaxation. It may look different for each individual, but I'm just going to focus on the things that have worked for me. And of course, over time, those things have changed. As you know, throughout the pandemic, a lot of things we were not able to do because things were shut down. So it kind of forced us to be a little bit more creative. I mean, we had to think outside of the box. So self-care looked a little bit different. It changed a couple of things for me, but for the most part, a lot of things remain the same. So I've already defined what it means to me, but I've also broken them down into 5 categories. I have emotional, physical and or personal. I have social, spiritual, and then mental. And so underneath each category, I've kind of listed some things that contribute to each of those categories that promote self-care. So first, I'm going to start off with emotional. If you know me, then you know that I enjoy writing, I enjoy blogging and journaling, and being home throughout the pandemic, I've journaled a little bit more. It has allowed me to kind of process my emotions throughout the pandemic. A lot of things have occurred in my personal life, not to mention all those external factors with, anything that has happened in the world. It gives me a space to process and just sort out my emotions, because honestly, I had a lot of good days, but I had a lot of bad moments as well. And so it was an emotional roller coaster, to say the least. So just being able to write those things down just helped me kind of write my way through the things that I was going through. And I've always been, like I said, a writer, but even more so throughout this pandemic. Secondly, I have on my paper, I have separation from people who do emotional dumping. When you are a person, and not to toot my own, you are a person that people come to vent, a lot of times it cuts both ways. It's good that you're reliable and they can count on you to provide them with some type of emotional support or an encouraging word. However, it can be a bit much, especially if it's a person who does a lot of emotional dumping. Sometimes they can become dependent on you to be that emotional support, and it can be burdensome. But you have to know when to cut those people off, and when I say cut people off, I mean sometimes you just can't answer the phone. Like, if you know that that's one thing they call you for, sometimes if you don't feel like, if you don't have enough in you to be that support at that very moment, you just say no. Like, I can't do it today. Like, I literally cannot handle both my emotional things that I have going on and yours. And so sometimes you just kind of have to separate yourself from those people. And sometimes it may be temporary, and sometimes you may just have to have a conversation with that person and say, look, I understand that you go through some things. And a lot of times those people who always have something going on, they're the problem. So you just kind of have to be real with those people and say, look, sometimes it's some things that person may have to work on. Just kind of have to deal with, themselves, or seek professional help, and don't allow their emotional dumping or their emotions to become your problem. Number 2, it is the physical and or personal self-care, and I've categorized those 2 things together because they kind of go hand in hand. So what I mean by personal and or physical self-care is anything that does something for me, both externally and internally. And you'll see what I mean when I go more in depth. Example 1, working out. That is something that helps me both internally and externally. So working out can be going to the gym, it can be going for a walk or a run, it can be yoga. Those are some things that I like to do. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to visit the gym anymore because of all that is taking place. However, I do take moments to go for a walk. I love going for walks. I love fresh air. It's an opportunity for me to get some vitamin D. A lot of us, we're stuck in the house and we're not able to get that vitamin D because our visits or our travels are limited. We don't want to be caught in spaces where there are a lot of people. So for me, every now and then I will go for an early morning walk. Normally it's not that many people outside. You know, it's my quiet time. I'm able to talk to God if I want to. I'm able to just be by myself if I want to. If I do invite a friend, that's my opportunity to do that as well. So that's that. Yoga. I love yoga because it promotes a sense of mindfulness. Sometimes I have so much going on in my head that while I do appreciate yoga for its physical, how it contributes to me physically, it also gives me a sense of mindfulness. Like I said, I have a lot going on in my head sometimes, and it just kind of centers me. It puts me in a space to be quiet. It quiets my thoughts. I can relax. Like I said, physically it's great. I'm able to stretch my body. Sometimes, you know, your body holds a lot of stress and or a lot of tension. My body holds a lot of tension in my shoulders, in my back, you know, and things like that. And so it just gives me that opportunity to stretch. And it goes into eating, my eating habits. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I eat healthy. I'm just not one of those people. Anything that I can eat that brings me joy, I'm a foodie. I love good food. I don't care if it comes from a fancy restaurant. I don't care if it comes from a hole in the wall. As long as the food is good, I'm here for it. It just brings me so much joy to be able to eat well and to eat good food. And that can pretty much look like anything. Also, when I mention eating habits, it's not just what I eat, but when I eat. I am a breakfast person, so anytime I'm able to get up in the morning, which is every morning, I never miss breakfast. I get up every morning and I have breakfast, and I'm not talking about a bowl of cereal. I'm not talking about a bowl of oatmeal. I'm talking about I need eggs, bread, some type of toast, biscuit. I need bacon. I love bacon, things like that. I like a full breakfast. It just helps me in the morning get my mind right. Physically, I feel alert, I feel energetic, and I just feel like I can tackle my day. Also, my list for physical and personal is lengthy. A massage. I am a member of Massage Envy. When I tell you, there is nothing like being able to just relax and allow someone else to treat you, rub you down. I love a good massage. Like I said, I hold a lot of tension in my shoulders and in my back, and sometimes in my calves. And so just being able to have someone just rub that out of you, I would encourage each and every one of you to get a massage if you haven't. For me, having a monthly membership, it pushes me to go, because, you know, I don't want to waste my money. You know, it forces me to set an appointment so I can go. And I just enjoy that time of being still and not doing anything. It's the same thing with getting my hair and my nails done. It's an opportunity for me to not only take care of my physical appearance, which contributes to how I feel, but it helps me feel like I'm being taken care of. I'm sitting there, I'm letting someone else do my nails, I'm letting someone do my hair. And it just gives me that moment to be still. I'm a busybody naturally, and sometimes I can just get tired because I like doing things myself. And just like I said, having that moment of stillness and allowing someone else to do their job, and it brings me joy and happiness, those things definitely go into my self-care. And like I said, if my hair is done, my nails are done, I feel amazing. Like, when my hair is not done or my nails are looking ratchet, I do not feel gorgeous. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's something about looking good. It makes you feel good, which goes into my last point for my physical and personal: getting dressed. I know that the pandemic has us in loungewear and it has us in pajamas. For me, I work from home and I have to get dressed. Like, there is no way I can be in pajamas all day. That's just not me. Even if it's loungewear, find you some, nice loungewear. So many companies have caught on recently to loungewear. I don't know if you've noticed, but everybody is selling loungewear. And I'm not talking about your grandma sitting at home in your robe loungewear. I'm talking about some nice, fashionable loungewear where if I'm at home and I want to look cute, because I like looking cute around the house, then if I feel like running an errand, I can run an errand in those same clothes without looking like I just rolled out of bed and went to the store. So those type of things. I get up every morning. I work every day. I get up every morning, I bathe, and I get dressed, because it also helps with my productivity. If I'm dressed like I've been in bed, I'm going to act like I'm in bed all day long. Whereas when I get up and get dressed for the day, it makes me feel like I have a job to get done. And so for me, getting dressed is self-care. Moving on to our third category. Is social. Social self-care for me looks like going out. And I know you're like, girl, how can you go out with all that is going on? I know. But for example, a friend every Saturday at 8 o'clock, we may go and get coffee. Or I might meet up with a friend and we may go out to eat and just catch up. Or for my friends who live out of town, just having that FaceTime. If you know me, then you know my love language is quality time. So that can look like many different things. So being able to spend time with my friends or my family. And of course, we have to be creative. Right now you can't really do picnics, but when it was warmer, just being able to go outside and sit into a picnic, meet up at the park and just go for a walk and chat, just to catch up with one another, just to have that physical encounter. Because talking on the phone for me is not the same, or texting is not that face-to-face contact. I love being able to look at someone. I love being able to read body language. And for me, that's just a deeper level of communication, in my opinion. With that, though, is the second thing under social self-care is setting boundaries. And I mentioned this earlier when I was talking about emotional self-care. But setting boundaries with yourself and setting boundaries with others, just saying no. Basically knowing, okay, I've had this amount of interaction with all these people. Now it's time for me to kind of just be to myself, not being available all the time, saying no to invitations, even if you do not have other plans. Just like I said, having that moment to yourself. Number 4 is spiritual self-reading. I love reading, whether it's the Bible, whether it's my morning devotional, whether it is any type of spiritual growth book, or even if it's listening to some type of audio that helps me spiritually. And of course, we're all at different places in our lives spiritually. So just finding something that speaks to you and where you are in your walk spiritually. And for me, another thing is going to church. I love church. Unfortunately, though, we are unable to gather. And so just watching my church live every Sunday, or even if it's something that is live weekly. And then just going on YouTube and finding different people who speak on certain topics, like I said, that speaks to a place where you are. Now, with that, though, you have to be honest about where you are spiritually. And when I say that, and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but 1, making sure you're planted at the right place. One thing I had to learn years ago was where you are planted makes a big difference on your spiritual growth. But you have to be honest with yourself. You have to know where you are spiritually. and then you can make the needed steps to be planted at a certain place that will, like I said, speak to your walk. Lastly is mental. Now, everything that I've stated before this goes into the mental. Number one, I'm going to say therapy. Therapy is a blessing. Do not let anybody think, I don't care if it is, you know, even for a brief moment, you tried it, at least you tried therapy. I would encourage anybody to seek mental therapy or counseling. And the reason why I say that is because, in my opinion, self-care and or therapy is preventative care, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is, don't wait until something tragic happens, or don't wait until something occurs to take these needed steps for self-care. A lot of times people don't go to therapy until something happens. Maybe they lost somebody and they go to grief counseling. Maybe a tragic event happened where they lost their job, or which is still grief, or, you know, I'll even say, like I mentioned earlier, working out is preventative care. Don't wait until you have a health issue to say, oh, okay, now I'm going to eat right, or now I'm going to work out. Take preventative measures in order to take care of yourself. I would always encourage that. But like I said, therapy is good. Anything socially, physically, emotionally, all of those things contribute to your mental health, whether you believe it or not. And like I mentioned earlier, journaling is a number one. It goes into the emotional self-care. Like I mentioned earlier, those two kind of go hand in hand. Processing your thoughts, like I said, mentally, especially this past week, this past year, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. And even for the most spiritual person, this can take a toll. And if you are able to find something, your list may not look like mine, and that is okay, because we're all different. But if you are able to find something, and if you're able to surround yourself with people who are like-minded, who contribute to your self-care, who do not make you feel bad for not being okay, find you a space where it's okay to not be okay. Like I said, I experienced a lot of things this past year, and even 2019, honestly, is where it really just has been taking a toll. But just finding that space to find some type of thing that brings you joy, find something that brings you peace. I didn't mention this, but I'm not much of a TV movie watcher. Recently, I've been watching more movies than I can imagine. It's my way of debriefing. When I get off, it's dark now, so I'm not able to, well, I'm not going to say I'm not able to, but I'm trying to use wisdom. It's dark, and so I just don't travel to a lot of different places, and so I have to find something that just brings me to a place of relaxation from work and, like I said, debriefing. So I put on a movie. So if that's something that is self-care for you, then do that. But like I said, I just wanted to share my different ways for self-care, and I encourage you to do the same. Sit down and break up the different categories, and I want you to write down emotional, physical and or personal, spiritual, mental, social, those 5 categories. And underneath each one, just write things that help you promote those different categories. If you've enjoyed this video, I ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. Feel free to share this video. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Please write down below different ways that you have self-care. Maybe we can trade ideas. Maybe you've done something that I've never done. I would love to hear that below. I love you guys, and have a great self-care Sunday. See you next week.